Okay, so last time we were together, we drew the basics of our Easter eggs with our beautiful patterns, our chicks, chickens, and roosters. And now we are going to outline and color them together. So if you didn't gather them from the first lesson where we drew, you do need something to outline. Could be washable, could be permanent, doesn't matter. And then whatever you are going to color with, whether it's markers, crayons, colored pencils, it doesn't matter to me. Let's just have fun and make these colorful. Let's get to it. Okay, so just like before, I'm going to start with my main shapes to outline. And take my time because I really want them to be smooth and nice. And of course, out of the 400 Sharpies I have, I seem to have picked a somewhat dry one, so give me one moment. There we go. This looks like fresh. Okay, I'm just going to retrace that line because I don't like how shaky it is because my marker was a little dry. Okay. If I don't trace it perfectly, that's okay. That's what my eraser is for, to erase all my extra pencil lines that are left over once I've done my outline. So I just want to do my best to stay on the line, but I do not need to be perfect. Row and do the same thing. And then my top row. Got my nice lowercase n shapes. Made this super easy, made all these different things using one shape. Okay, so I have my basic outline, but now I do want to outline some of my details. I definitely want to outline all the details on my chicks because I want them to stand out, my chicks, chickens, and roosters, I should say, because I want them to stand out. So, got our beak made with our uppercase M shape. We've got our curvy line, scallop line, little wingy there. We've got our eye made up of a circle and our dark circle for our pupil. And I've got my little feathery tuft of hair here that I made to kind of look like a crown. This is our king rooster, I guess. Go to his neighbor, this little sleepy chick here. We've got our down curved lines, our little wide undercase U shapes, and I did choose to add some little eyelashes. You didn't need to. And then we've got, I think I made my beak a little bit big, so I might make it a little smaller here. Because it's just a little baby chick, it wouldn't have a huge beak. And then I want to outline my little curly Q feathers that I made here. A little chickie's bed head. Go over here to this nice little chicken. Got its little feather top here. We've got our eyes. And we've got our beak. And let's move to our top rooster here. Our little wingy. Our beak. Our looking up to the sky eye. And we've got our little rooster tuft of feathers on the top here. Now you have a choice on whether you want to outline your egg patterns with black or if you just want to do them in color. I'm going to say that's a choice. I'm going to outline everything because I like when my patterns stand out. But you do not have to outline your patterns, especially if you did patterns that are more complicated than the ones I did. I chose pretty simple patterns, huh? So I'm going to outline my stripes, my horizontal stripes, meaning they go side to side. Doing my best to stay on my original lines, but it's okay if I don't. That's what my eraser is for. If you used a ruler, you can use your ruler for an outline too, but that's up to you, and you certainly don't need to use a ruler. I'm going to do my triangles here. Got one empty area here that I don't like, so I'm going to add a little triangle. We can always edit our work as we go. That means we can take things out that we don't like, and we can add things where we think they're missing. Our first attempt doesn't always have to be the one we go with. Then we have our wavy line stripes. Once again, I'm doing my best to stay on my original line, but it certainly does not have to be perfect. If you did my lesson with the landscape, the line landscape last week, you already have some practice at following a curvy line like this. And if you like doing this, then you'll probably like that lesson. Oh, I really went off my line there. That's okay. I'll just pick it back up where I can. We'll do our polka dots, our nice, simple, easy polka dots here. I did all my different size dots to make it more interesting, but you can keep your dots the same size if you like. You didn't even have to do dots if you didn't want. But I'm certainly not worried about them being perfect circles. Maybe you wanted to keep one of your eggs a solid color. That's okay too. I'm not here to tell you how to make your own drone Easter eggs. Just like when you make them at home, you can use whatever colors or patterns you want. I'm going to do my plaid pattern here, or my checkerboard pattern, however I'm choosing to think about it. That I did with my, I made a mistake there. That's okay though. My vertical lines, my up and down lines, and then I'll also add my horizontal lines, which go side to side, all the way to the edge of the paper. Zigzag line for our little zigzag stripe, broken up by some simple dots for one of our more complex, one of our more detailed patterns. Zigzag lines, and then some dots, and then some zigzag lines. That's what you would use if you were maybe drawing a mountain or a lightning bolt. I'm going to do my little heart pattern here. I did different size hearts. Some hearts that you can't see the whole thing. It's okay. Some really tiny hearts. Medium hearts, some small. And finally, we have our last pattern, another complex pattern that we did. A stripe, and then we did flowers with our circle and our lowercase n shaped petals. Let's add our next stripe. Just tracing my lines. And then our flowers again. Circle, lowercase shaped and petals. I did 5 petals. Maybe you do more, maybe you do less. That's okay. Not all flowers look the same, and they certainly don't all have the same amount of petals. My last flower here, a piece of it's cut off. And there we have it. Our outline is done. But we have one step before we color. We want to erase all our extra pencil lines that we still see showing. When you do that, make sure you brush away the little dust that your eraser creates every once in a while. Because if you get too much of that on your paper, sometimes we can make little rips in our paper. And I would be very upset if I did this beautiful drawing and then I ripped my paper. That would not make me happy. So I'm just taking my time and I am carefully looking at where all of my little pencil lines are showing. If I miss one, it's not the end of the world. I can always pick my eraser back up if I need to. Or maybe I can even just color right over it. It depends. Let's clean up all these pencil lines. These are the little extra steps that when you take them, your work just looks so much nicer when it's done. It looks so much cleaner. Let's see. Oh, here. Flowers can be a little tough to trace exactly because we got so many lines. See what I mean? On the brush, I almost ripped. Okay, so now we're just about ready to color. For this, you can use crayon, colored pencil, marker, really whatever you have at home. If you want to use a mix of those things I just named, that's all fine. Okay, it doesn't matter what you color with. Colored pencil and crayons might not be as vibrant as markers, but the good thing is you can mix your tones a little bit better. You get that nice pale pastel look that we use a lot of time around the springtime. But if you want to use marker and get those vibrant colors, that's okay too. Once again, maybe you want to do a mix. All of those things are fine. So to start, I want to focus on my chickens and my chicks because those have things that have certain colors. So normally when we see a chickie, it's usually yellow with maybe a little orange beak. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Is I'm going to color my beak in orange. And maybe I'll use orange for this top beak too. And just to keep it interesting, I'm going to use a different shade of orange, a little bit of a lighter orange for my other two beaks, just so they're not all exactly the same. This is more of a yellow orange. Still orange, but different than the other one, so that all my chickies don't look exactly the same when I made so much effort to draw them different. Now this chickie down here, I'm definitely going to do this chickie yellow. And since it's a big solid space, I'm going to use my big waterproof or water-based marker, which means it's washable. So I don't have to worry if I maybe get a little bit. Now if you notice, even though I did my black outline, when I go to color, I still do an extra outline with my color. And that is just an extra step that makes it that much easier to color carefully. And when I color carefully, I choose colors that make sense or that go together well. I do my best to stay in the lines. And I do my best to fill in my space completely, meaning I don't have any white spots showing through. If I'm using colored pencil or crayon, I'm going to have a tiny bit of white, and that's okay. It doesn't color as solid as markers do. And when I color carefully, I try to go in one direction because for some reason it just makes it look that much neater. So I have this little yellow chickie here, but not all chickies are yellow. Some chickens and roosters are white, and sometimes they have brown feathers. They can be all different. So I think this is going to be a little white chicken, but I do want to give her some little brown feather details. So I'm going to make her little tuft of hair here on the top of her head. I'm going to make that brown. And I don't have to have a smooth shape at the top because it's supposed to be feathers, and feathers aren't perfect shapes. But I'm going to leave the rest of my chickie white. The same thing with my rooster here. I'm going to leave him mostly white. However, I am going to maybe add some little brown details to his wing here. Okay. Or I could even make the whole wing brown if I want. This is your choice. And the feathers at the top, I'm going to make them red. Because if you've ever seen a picture of a rooster, that tuft of feathers they have at the top helps them attract attention so that they can get all the little chickadees in the yard to come flock to them. So we're going to give him a nice red crown on the top of his head. I'm going to make this top rooster yellow. So I'm going to outline his whole shape first. We're going to leave the feathers at top because we're going to do them red just like the bottom guy to really show that he's a rooster. And I don't want to color his eye in yellow. If our eyes are yellow, that usually means we're a little sick. Unless we're a cat or a lizard. And then I'm going to finish coloring him very carefully. I like to make long strokes with my markers. And then I'm going to make his little feathers at the top red. This is a small shape, so I don't really have too much room to do an outline on it. And I've got my nice thin point marker here, so I'm probably okay just going around it. Okay, so I've got my little white chicken and a little white rooster, and I've got my little yellow chickadee and my yellow rooster up there. If you want to change the colors up, you may certainly feel free to. I think maybe I've decided that this little chicken here is going to have a nice little a nice little ruffly, feathery belly with some more brown feathers, because that's too much blank space for me. I don't like a lot of blank space on my paper. Maybe you like the white space and you want to leave it white. That's fine. I want my chickie to have, or my chicken to have, a little feathery belly with some brown feathers. Now the fun part. Now we get to use all our favorite colors however we want, and we get to color in our beautiful, brightly colored Easter eggs. I know that I want my background to look like a sky, like maybe these guys are hanging out on a farm. So I'm going to use my sky blue, and I'm going to outline all the shapes up here. To remind myself of where my sky is. It's all above this third row. It's going to be my sky. So everything above this blue line is going to be the sky. Maybe you don't want it to be a sky. Maybe you want it to be inside, or maybe you just want to pick your favorite color and do that as your background color. That's fine. I just want to do the sky because I want to pretend my chickies and my eggs are outside. Maybe they're out in a field getting ready for an Easter egg hunt. So now everything above that line, I'm going to color blue. I'm going to outline the top page line too, just because that way I'm staying on my page a little bit better. It's not necessary that you do this, but it's one of those steps that I like to take because I think it makes my work a little bit neater and a little bit cleaner. And then once again, doing my best to color carefully, filling in my space completely, doing my best to color in one direction, doing my best to stay in the lines, doing my best not to leave white space. I'm going to continue to color my happy springtime blue sky. Realize I'm really going off screen there. Sorry, guys. Sometimes Mrs. Deutsch gets really into working and she forgets that she's recording. I talk to myself when I work anyway. Easter's definitely going to be a little bit different this year than it is in the past. We're probably not going to get to do some of the things that we usually do, some of our family traditions or maybe our church traditions. But that's okay because we're all in this together and we'll have to think of some new and creative ways to celebrate. And maybe, just maybe, you'll end up with some things that you enjoy so much that you work them into your Easter tradition from now on. So don't see it as things that you're losing. Look at it as an opportunity to think like an artist, some new ways to do some favorite traditions. I bet you can come up with some pretty great ideas of things that you can do at home with your mom and dad or whoever you are home with. Brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents, friends, whoever it may be. I usually go and visit my grandma with my whole family, and we're not going to be able to do that this year, but I'm going to try to see everybody on the internet, because luckily we have this amazing tool that makes it really easy to talk to and even see our friends when we're not physically with them. I know I haven't had time in the past few years to dye Easter eggs, so I'm hoping this year, with some extra time that I have being at home, that I will get to dye Easter eggs, because it used to be one of my favorite things to do. Almost there. Almost have my sky color. If it takes Mrs. Deutsch this long, it should take you just as long. Good art. We don't usually make that when we rush. I know sometimes we're in a rush to get things done, but when we're doing something like this, we got to remember that we can take as much time as we need to, especially right now. So take your time, make it nice. Don't rush. When we rush is usually when we make silly mistakes. Now, not that mistakes are the end of the world, but we should always try to be a little careful. Okay, so I have my sky blue background. I have my yellow, white, brown, red, and orange chickies. My Easter eggs, I can do whatever colors I want. And I don't think we're going to finish coloring this together because that would be quite a lot. But let's start to see how some of our colors start to pop out. I'm going to use lots of bright, fun colors because they're my favorite colors to use. And I think I'm going to make my hearts my nice neon pink. Now, do I have to make all my hearts the same color? No, I certainly don't. Maybe I wanted to make them different colors. I could do that. But I really like this color pink, so I'm going to make all my hearts this color pink. Even my little half hearts here that got cut off. Ooh, I like that color. I might have to use that color somewhere else too. Now my dots, I think I am going to do these all rainbow colors. Let's get lots of colors in there. So let's do maybe a couple yellow dots. I don't want to do too many yellow dots because I already have so much yellow on my page for my chickies. That's okay. And then I definitely want to do a couple orange dots too. Once again, maybe not quite so many since we do have orange elsewhere on our page, but definitely some. Let's do some red dots. There's my purple. There we go. Let's get some purple dots in there. I really like purple, so I'm going to do a nice big purple dot here. I'm going to do some blue dots. And finally, some nice little green dots. So now I've got my nice little rainbow polka dot egg. Okay, very nice, very nice. Let's do this pretty fuchsia color. And I think I'm going to use that for some of my petals. I don't have to do all my petals this color. Maybe I want to do every other flower this color. So skip one, next one. And then this row I'm going to do the opposite. And then I've got this, got this lighter pink that I used for the other petals. To add the centers of my flowers, so maybe some of this light orange that I used before, and maybe some yellow for the other ones so they're a little different. And then I'm going to pick this pretty turquoise color for my stripes. And then just quickly, I do want to show you what I mean by mixing in some colored pencils with your markers if you choose to do it that way. I do want to finish my stripes really quickly. But the good thing about mixing different types of coloring tools is you can help some things stand out and some things fade more into the background. So for instance, anything that you color with a bright bold marker is probably going to stand out. Now I had some white space here, and I did that on purpose because I knew I was going to go over that with my turquoise colored pencil. And that's going to give it a little less white, but it still has some texture. So I want to fill in the white space that I left with my turquoise pencil. And now it almost looks a little bit like grass, if we can see it up close. And then colored pencils are also going to be great to use to color in around my egg, because I really do want my patterns to stand out. And a good way to do that is by using something lighter for the background. So for instance, I have this beautiful, that's a little bit too light. I really like this bright yellow though. Maybe I want this whole egg to be neon. So I'll use my neon yellow pencil just to add a little bit of the background color around my eggs. Because normally when we dye Easter eggs, unless we're drawing on them with marker or adding stickers or decals afterwards, the colors tend to be pretty light. So by using this colored pencil, I'm going to get something that looks more like what a real Easter egg would look like. I know it's a fairly light color, so it's hard to show up on camera, but I'll give you a close-up. But this makes sure that my pattern still stands out. You can still see my hearts really, really, really well. They really pop off the page, but the rest of my egg isn't so boring now. See that? Okay. Same thing with my extra patterned egg. I think I want a background on that one. That is a light purple. So I'm going to take my purple pencil, and then once again, this adds some color without being too dark and without taking away from the beautiful patterns that we spent time creating. So a little bit of purple. around my flowers and between my stripes. I'll add my purple color to go with this nice egg. Gotta go all the way down, not forget any areas. So I've got another egg that now has a little bit more interest to it than just a plain white background. Now we are about out of time for this lesson. I will show you a completed picture in the introduction, but I want you to have fun finishing coloring your eggs. Use your favorite colors. Use lots of colors. Use marker, colored pencil, crayons, whatever you have, it doesn't matter. But I hope you enjoyed drawing our chickies, chickens, roosters, and eggs in our beautiful springtime drawing. I hope you enjoyed this class. I will have more coming for you probably this week, but if not, definitely next week. And once again, thank you so much for joining me. Feel free to give me any feedback or comments. Make sure that you're sharing your work with me on Instagram if you have access. If not, that's okay too. But I really love seeing your work. It makes my day to see how you took this and made it your own. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay creative, and I'll see you next time. Bye.